welcome back to another edition of the In the Game interview series. We've got with us Aaron Rodriguez. Aaron, thanks for joining us. We appreciate you coming on. Why don't you give us a little background into your experiences in the game? What led you into the coaching profession, and what are your current roles?
Well, thanks for having me here. So the main thing would be, I started coaching, I would say when I was about 21. So playing and, got injured. And I was like, well, might as well start looking into coaching, because even though I was young at the time, I was like, well, I have to focus on school, focus on this. And, so coaching was more of a way to, as you said earlier, get my soccer fix, while knowing that, I can't play forever.
Very nice, very nice. So you're working with Invictus right now, and obviously you guys are a club that has youth and all the way up into the WPSL. What's your experience been like with the club there?
So I just launched it with my really good friend. It's just one of those things where it's the first time we're doing it. This is not the first time we're doing it. This is the first year for Invictus, and we used to be LA Salsa before, and it's the first year being Invictus, and this happens. But it's been pretty exciting regardless. All the behind the scenes stuff that I've been working on. A lot of the tournaments and stuff that the teams and the WPSL team has been in. It's all been positive so far.
Yeah. So you're the technical director there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how have you guys? Obviously, you said it's your first year, but I think having the WPSL at the top of the pyramid of the club, basically, I think is a great setup, because it kind of gives those youth players something to kind of look forward to. Even if you're going to go play in college, they can still come back and play in the WPSL and those kind of things. What kind of curriculum have you guys put together to kind of push players in that kind of direction?
So the good thing is that before we even talk about curriculum, because the club is a bit smaller,
Mm-hmm.
It's way easier to kind of get a specific style of play, specific, curriculum started, because there's only X amount of teams versus other big clubs that don't have a WPSL team. They have to work super hard to get a super strict curriculum. And even then there's a lot of teams that fall through the cracks. Right. Mm-hmm. So, with our teams right now, we have 12, pretty small, but, with the 12, it's all based on, technical, tactical, and functional training. So it's all based on those three main things. Mm-hmm. We all focus on gegenpressing, a lot of pressure once you lose possession. And, it's worked throughout the youth club. It's mm-hmm. worked with the women's team, and we've been doing it, I would say, I've been coaching this way since, I would say, 2008, 2009.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. What really kind of, you kind of spoke on it a little bit, other than your injury, what kind of really drew you to why do you want to be a coach, like, other than just getting your soccer?
So, the main thing for me,
that's a huge piece for all of us, but
yeah. The main thing for me was the fact that, where I'm from, soccer doesn't cost that much. Mm-hmm. It really doesn't. It's all you honestly really need is something that resembles a ball and some backpacks or shoes or rocks. That's pretty much it, Mm-hmm. So when I came over here for school, I was like, okay, let me see if I could get into the club soccer scene, let's see how it is. And I'm hearing these prices, and I was like, it's not this. It really doesn't make sense to do that, because you're literally pricing out people who should be playing.
Yeah.
So when I finally met Tony a few years later, we sat down and we were like, you know what, we may be a small footprint, but we're going to try to change something, at least in our area. Mm-hmm. So, that was the main thing for the youth side. For the women's side, it's a little bit different. So in LA, there's no professional women's team, mm-hmm. right? Which, first of all, sucks.
Yeah.
There's literally every other sport. In soccer, there's two. Basketball, there's two. Almost every sport has two, and not even one female team. So, I decided, I'm just going to have tryouts. Over 200 players showed up for the first tryout. Mm-hmm. And that's, that was just word of mouth, because I knew someone who knew someone, and it just went on and on and on. So that's the main reason why I started coaching in terms of the youth. Mm-hmm. And then for the women, I saw that, there's no professional team. And to be quite honest, there's no real development for women players
Hmm.
in the area. There's some teams here and there, but there's no, strict professional setting
Yeah.
within the LA area. Yeah, outside of college.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm very spoiled when it comes to women's soccer with having NC Courage in my backyard, and we play with my college team. We play our home games in the same park that they play their home games in, and
Yeah.
there's times where we've been out there, and the national team has been training there as well. So yeah, I think it's crazy to think that there's not a women's professional team in LA with it being such a hotbed for soccer in the country. And just the market as a whole. I mean, think about, there was 2 MLS teams there at one time. Well, now there's 2 MLS teams there now,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I think LAFC is probably doing a little bit better than Chivas USA did back in the day. So it's crazy to think that there's not a women's team there, and I think obviously you guys are filling a niche that really needs to be filled for sure. So I think that's awesome that you guys were able to do that. So you talked about, when you came here, obviously the club system is a little bit different from back home from you. Where were you originally from?
So I'm born in Canada, but I grew up most of my life in a tiny little island in the Caribbean called Trinidad and Tobago.
Mm-hmm.
When everyone asks me where are you from, I always say, remember the 2006 World Cup, the smallest nation to ever make it to the World Cup? That was Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice. What, how much different was it for you growing up playing there as opposed to what our club setup is? Obviously the price points are one thing. What was the playing experience like, and how different was that?
So I think the main difference, first of all, would be obviously, like you said, the price, but then a very close second would be just, the structure. So over, in the United States, it's extremely structured. It's to the point where I could pick any coaching course, go to it, and it'll be basically the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, there's structured play, but then literally at every park, there's someone playing soccer, non-structured soccer.
Yeah.
And to me, the main thing, and I do it to all my teams, the main thing for me is, there's a difference between structured play where they have to learn stuff, and then and then on the flip side, there's unstructured or just a free play session where you get to actually express yourself. And the way I see it is, it's 2 completely different things. And the U.S. they're kind of starting to catch on with the play, practice, play, but that's starting to die out again. So it's all over the place, and everyone's trying to figure out what's the magic behind it. You look at Brazil, even look at Germany and all these other countries that are always top 10 in the world. Every corner you see a kid playing, a few 5-6 kids playing street soccer. I think that's what it is.
And I think that that obviously we kind of, as the United States, we kind of lead the way in basketball, and I think that's kind of connected to that kind of idea. If you go and just randomly show up at a basketball court anywhere in the United States, typically
Exactly.
there's a bunch of kids there playing, and we don't necessarily have. I mean, we have a lot of fields and we have a lot of field space, but typically those are dedicated to clubs, and it's very, very difficult just to kind of show up and play.
Gotta get a permit.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you don't have the insurance, you're not using it usually. So,
Yep.
Which is it's a very unfortunate thing with our culture currently. But yeah, I think it's a big piece for sure. And I coach a U17 boys team right now as well outside of my college team, and we were messing around. We had a couple of weeks off between games, and we didn't have a couple of weeks off. We had a couple of weeks between league games. And I showed up one day and I was like, we're just going to play today. I'm going to let you guys play, and we're just going to, you guys do your thing. And I'm just going to pull you guys aside and talk to you a little bit and just let you guys go. And one of my kids just was going nuts on the ball. And I was like, where's this been? He's like, Coach, I didn't think you'd let me do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you never, sometimes just letting kids play, and you'll find some things you didn't think you'd see.
Mm-hmm.
So what style of play do you like? You talked about kind of setting that curriculum and the style of play for the club. What kind of style do you guys want to try to put into play with the club?
So it's definitely, it's the way I see it. It's 3 different. It's always the what do you call it? The moments of the game, right? So the main thing I always try to teach the players and the women's team is the 4 moments of the game, right? When you have the ball, when you lose it, when you just had it, when you just lost it, right? So that's the 4 main things. With that, there's always some different aspect because it's a transitional game, right? It's not it's not basketball where you go, you set up, you run your play, it's over, you go back, you set up defense. No, it's transition. It's a game. It's all about transition, right? So we have to first let those kids understand what transition is, let them figure it out on their own as well. But the idea is most of the times, I mean, actually all the times, the only way you can score is if you have the ball,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we work a lot on possession-based things. So, every practice session always starts with a rondo, a directional rondo, something similar to that, which kind of also goes against the grain of U.S. soccer, which, I get it. I understand they have to put certain things in place, but I've seen it multiple times. Rondos work for certain reasons, right?
Yeah.
Um, Rondos aren't the be-all end all, but it's a
Yeah.
good way to get them engaged, get them to understand spatial awareness, time, pressure, a lot of different things. So, it's definitely based on a possession-based style soccer, but it's heavily influenced on as soon as you lose the ball, you got to get it back.
Yeah.
You just have to. There's no way about it. Sometimes it bites you in the butt where you press too much and send a long ball and game over.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we want to make sure they understand that the ball is the most important thing. So as soon as you get that ball back, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I completely agree. With my teams, we talk about if you turn the ball over, if you can win it back in the first 3 seconds and find a new space, you're going to be successful. You know,
Exactly.
so I think that that's something that I try to do that's very similar to what you're talking about for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. What's one of your favorite activities to do with your team?
Honestly, my favorite activities, it wouldn't be a specific activity per se, but just team building, team bonding stuff. So
Yeah,
a lot of the times it would be, I don't care what type of game it is. Once you score a goal, there has to be a celebration. And it's not just a celebration, it's a team thing. So whoever gave
yeah,
the assist, whoever's nearest to you, and that just sets the level and the tempo so much higher. And it's something so small.
mhm,
But in terms of that, I think that's one of my favorite things to do. So it could be anything from, defending in the, defensive third or counterattacking or, pressure in the middle third or, forcing turnovers. As soon as anyone scores, you got to celebrate. And it has to be something different every single time. So just something small like that takes their brain off of not just, okay, we have to do this and that's that, but
mhm,
also to have fun because now they actually want to score, right? And
yeah,
that's what you want in a game. The more you score, the better chance you have of winning and the more accomplished the team feels. So I think that's the main thing I do with my team is just every time you score, show me something new, show me some other celebration. Now they have all sorts of complicated stuff and they, it's good because then they get to reflect on it and they get to chat about it later. And then, they ask me, hey coach, next time try to zoom in when we do this celebration. It's going to be fun, so it's always a good thing to do.
got them working on creativity there without them thinking about it
Exactly.
for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's one of my pet peeves when I'm watching games and somebody scores and they just turn around and walk back.
It's the most annoying
Obviously
thing ever.
if you're winning 7-0 and you're taking your shirt off and stuff, that's one thing. But I think you have to enjoy it. And I was a goal scorer in college, and I was lucky enough to play with some very very good players that put me in some good spots to score goals, and we always had some good things to celebrate with for sure.
And exactly, that's what you remember, right? That's
Yeah.
one of the main things you remember. The celebrations once you score. Yes, you remember the defeats a lot. You remember the wins, but those specific moments, 5 seconds of right after you score a goal. That kind of like a lifetime right there.
Yeah, the world just goes away, right?
Yep.
What's one of your favorite coaching memories?
I think one of my favorite coaching memories would be, I would say, the first win we had at WPSL.
Hmm.
It was one of those things where, and actually it was a combination of that game and the game right after. So, you know, last year was our first year. We didn't know what we were expecting. Whatever it is, the team came up last minute. Um, but we were playing. What was it? They were the first place team going into the last weekend of the game,
Mhm.
right? Um, we had no reason to be even being a close game with them, right? The first time that we played them, they beat us like 4-1 or 5-1. It was a massacre, right? So we worked on a few things, uh changed a lot of different things, and it was a lot of work into those last two games because there was a break, um where we didn't have games for one weekend. So it was a weekend, then there's a break, then the last two games were that last weekend. Worked a lot, and girls, they enjoyed that win. They enjoyed it with a passion. Because of that win, that one team didn't make playoffs, and they were the most cockiest, just and the girls just enjoyed that, and I enjoyed it a lot. Just we scored the first. Let's see, we scored. They scored first, was 1-0 until like the 60th minute. Uh, we and then what was it? The 60th minute, and then around the 75th minute, we got them on the counter. They fouled us like literally about 13, 14 yards in our own half. I was like, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's set up a long free kick. We worked on these a lot.
Mhm.
Um, it worked perfectly. We got a banger right at the top of the 18,
Nice.
and girls just went crazy. 5 minutes later, so 80th minute, we won possession back, got them on the counter, scored, and that was it. Girls are just jumping all over the place. It was amazing. We actually, and it's surprising. We're for a team that's just our first year last year. We had a pretty decent turnout in terms of people coming to watch the games and stuff like that. So it was pretty awesome for the girls to have their families there watching,
Mhm.
and then members of the community, the mayor, city councilman, and stuff like that. They were there, and it was just a perfect moment. Where it was just crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always nice to obviously you like to be in the higher position, but it's nice to play the spoiler as well for sure.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Um, so obviously with all this stuff going on and WPSL being typically a summer league, um, what kind of information have you guys had with the league? Are you guys as I don't the season hasn't been canceled yet, has it?
No, so what they've told us was that at the end of this month they will give a definite yes or no.
Okay.
But as of now, we're still assuming it will happen.
Mhm.
So we're already making adjustments. The league actually was supposed to start the, at the second week of May, and
Yeah.
now it's been pushed back to the first game would be the end of May to the beginning of June. So it's
Okay.
already pushed back by 15 days.
Yeah.
So now we have to go reschedule everything, and it's difficult to reschedule because no schools are open, so
Yeah.
you can't really reschedule something if you can't get a permit.
Hmm.
So we're just kind of figuring out, it's baby steps, kind of figuring out one step at a time. We can't practice. The girls are kind of like, coach, come on, please, let's do something, So it's definitely trying times, but the league is, at least for WPSL, they told us that we have to wait until the end of this month to get a firm yes or no. And then for State Cup, we also played State Cup. So I don't know if you guys have State Cup over there for your.
Yeah.
You guys have it for adults as well?
Yeah, so we have a state cup for adults. Um, it's been a long time since I've been involved in the actual adult game in North Carolina, so
Yeah.
couldn't
Okay.
give you much information about that right now. I
well,
know
at
that
least in SoCal, it's huge because
yeah,
there's it's just a lot of soccer players in general, and the weather's always good, basically. So,
yeah,
you know, as many opportunities as they can, we'll play. So we have Adult State Cup. We were about to play the third game, and that game was on a Saturday, and that Thursday they canceled it because of
mm,
the coronavirus. And
yeah,
we already made it to the semifinals,
yeah.
and we just had the third group stage game to play to see who's first and second seed,
Mhm.
and that got canceled. So now we're just like, we
Yeah,
just won two back to back. That third game was the game we've been preparing for since January.
yeah,
So the girls were super stoked and super ready. Never know what would happen, but we were super. We were just definitely prepared for that game, and we were going all in. And it was just a matter of just getting the 90 minutes out, and hopefully we got a good result out of it. But
yeah.
yeah, so everything is basically postponed until further notice.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can definitely relate. You know, my college girls came back from spring break. We had our first week of spring training, and we got to train twice. And then we trained. They came back. We started on the Monday. Well, we started on the Tuesday because we were training Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays through the spring. We trained Tuesday, trained Wednesday, had 2 great sessions. We're getting ready to go to training on Thursday. Got a call from my AD saying, "Yep, you need to have a meeting with your team and tell them you're not training because they have to leave school tomorrow." So it's it's crazy, all this stuff going on with the virus for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just something that, no one would ever really expect, or no one has ever had to plan around it. So everyone's just kind of, well, what do we do? Just question marks everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think we've been doing Zoom meetings with the team and that kind of stuff just to kind of at least get a chance to see everybody's face and have a few conversations and kind of do some team chemistry stuff. But it's uh, it's definitely made me think a little differently about what we can do off the field as a team for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with the high school that I coach at. It's, as of now, the entire class calendar year is over.
Yeah.
So there's no preseason. If we're able to train, it's safe enough to train, we're literally going to be starting training in September.
Hmm.
And the first game is in December.
Yeah.
November, December. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be
Yeah.
super tough for high schools, our high school season as well.
I'm just hoping everything's cleared up. Obviously, God willing, and everybody's safe and everything. But I'm hoping that we're able to start in August. So
Yeah, and I'm hoping so as well. A lot of players that I know that aren't on our WPSL team that are in college, and I actually got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 players from our program into colleges, and they're like, "Wow, we finally got in, and you
yeah.
can't do anything." So hope I'm really hoping that they have a season,
Hmm.
and hopefully they get some news soon.
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. What do you feel like is the most important piece of being a coach?
I honestly, I've been coaching since, well, I've been coaching for 10 years now.
Hmm.
When I first started off, that the answer would have been way different, right? It
Yeah.
would have been, you have to be a leader and you have to do this and blah, 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 blah. And now what I'm seeing is, to be a great coach, you just have to be someone that can relate, just someone that can relate with people and be a people's person. Once you're a people's person, everything else falls in line. If you don't reach out to someone, just saying, "Hey, how are you doing? How's life? How's school going? How's classes? How's your mom?" If you remember the small things, like, "Oh yeah, you told me about your mom. She had her birthday thing last year. How was it? Or last week? So
Yeah.
just being a people person and really trying to, you know, understand the player and understanding that, they're humans as well
Hmm.
first, before being athletes or students. Just being someone that they can talk to, and you can talk to them to figure out what's going on. That just goes a long, long way.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think you know, especially coaching in academic environment, I think those things go a long way. Like you're talking about with coaching in high school and with me in college and stuff. I think you have a chance to take a different approach with a lot of those kind of players because with club we're a little bit less connected. Obviously, you still want
Mhm.
to be invested in your players. Not just on the field, but off the field as well. But yeah, I think in the academic environments, I think there's a lot more hands-on involvement. You know,
Mhm. Yeah, definitely, definitely.
so um, you know, any advice that you would give to young coaches or anybody just looking for some advice?
Honestly, as a young coaches, put yourself out there. You honestly never know who's looking just for help. You may not get paid at the beginning, honestly saying, but if you're in it to just get paid, then this is probably not the right job. Obviously, you have to be able to at least survive.
Mhm.
So, that's how I started off. I started off just reaching out because I'm not even from this country. I came here for school. I
Mhm.
didn't know anyone, and I was like, let me just go check out this school, see what if they need help or something.
Mhm.
Um, let's see if I could reach out to this high school, see if they need help. I'll be a walk. I don't care. I just want to help,
Mhm.
and that eventually got me started. And then started doing my coaching education. Now I have my C license, and it's just everything is just started from just putting myself out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I think I've talked about this with a couple of other people that we've spoken with before you as well. I think, there's a lot of big time coaches that have a lot of time for young coaches. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of going and asking and just talking, because they're not holding their cards close to their chest. They want to share that information. They want the game to grow. So they're more than happy to share it with the coaches that ask.
Exactly. Not only that, but they also need help too. You
Yeah.
know, big time coaches, they have a lot of stuff on their plate, and even if it's someone just to go set up cones and help run the session, not even lead the session, just help stand there, shag balls, whatever it is. That's your way into your way to get into some type of program, even if it's high school, club, college, professional. It's honestly it's just putting yourself out there.
For sure, for sure. Well, Aaron, I really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us. I hope hopefully we're able to get back on the field soon. But I definitely I followed you guys as you were going through your first season as salsa through our Instagram pages.
Oh, nice.
So I was happy to see some of the wins and some of the successes that you guys were able to have, and I look forward to continuing to follow your programs.
No problem, no problem. I'll definitely check you out as well. And thanks for reaching out and doing this. Is really good. And I really hope that whoever you're showing this to, and I'll definitely share it on my end,
Yeah.
that they see something, they learn something, they pick something up, they find it at least interesting or something like that. Because while we're stuck at home, the only thing we can do is Zoom meetings, right?
Yeah, yeah. Lots of Zoom meetings, lots of YouTube research, anything to help us grow while we're stuck in this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll just tell you, I've literally watched our last game, Invictus game, at least like 10 times. Just over and over and over. Just looking at the small details, like, that's what we got to work on next practice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
had a
already have like sessions planned out and everything.
there you go. Yeah, I had a lot of free time at the end of our fall season, so I think I've watched our season at least 2 or 3 times at this point,
Yeah,
minimum.
exactly.
So
Minimum.
very nice. One question I do have for you: when you guys have your games, are you able to live stream them or anything?
Yeah, in the past we did live stream, and we're probably going to try to live stream again. It's just way easier to just record and then put it on the live stream like Cujo. But
Yep.
we've done live streaming before, and it's not difficult. It's just way easier to just record and then put it later. But yeah, we were trying to see if we could get live stream again,
Mhm.
for any other game coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, hopefully, if this continues, we'd love to have you back on eventually. But I do appreciate you taking some time to talk with us, and we'll speak soon. Okay.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Thanks for having me.